If you're like us, you might want to save money but not get caught out when flying with Ryanair, who have a reputation for aggressive marketing of add-ons and extras.
When we flew with Ryanair recently, we really wished that we had a quick reference guide to help us get the best value and identify the potential pitfalls of flying with Europe's biggest airline.
So using our recent experience, we created one, and over the next 8 minutes, we'll give you a summary of what we discovered.
And what we wish we knew
right from the start about Ryanair.
Number 1, this basic fare here, which appears when you load the website, varies considerably from day to day, both up and down.
We think there's a slight trend. Firstly, searches made early in the week, Monday to Wednesday for example, may be cheaper than those made towards the weekend. Number 2, watch carefully for where you are flying to. Ryanair is notorious for using secondary airports, and we'd advise researching carefully any additional costs, time or inconvenience it may cost you flying to Barcelona, Girona or Reus rather than Barcelona El Prat, for example.
Think about onward transport costs and simple things like smaller airports being able to process car hire or taxis for 180 passengers arriving at once, or whether they have public transport links.
Number 3, this is a biggie. Ryanair makes a significant proportion of its profits not from this basic fare here, but from selling add-ons such as baggage and seat reservations.
Plan carefully, but realistically, how much baggage you really need to take, and remember that it's usually much cheaper to buy it when you book rather than as an expensive addition later on.
We've done a separate video on Ryanair's July 2025 baggage allowance, but to give you an idea, expect to pay between £20 and £30 or 23 and 33 euros each way per person to take a wheelie on your flight.
Number 4. Ryanair aggressively promotes baggage and seat reservations as a packaged add-on right at the start of the booking process.
Here's 3 good reasons why this is unlikely to be good value for you.
Firstly, everyone in the party has to buy the same package, and you might not actually need that.
Secondly, it's very often cheaper to buy the baggage and the seat reservations separately, which you can do later in the booking process.
Not everyone knows this.
And thirdly, it tries to force you into buying seat reservations that you might not normally want. Although hang around for point number 7 for more on that.
It's also worth pointing out here that the cost of add-ons such as seats and baggage vary wildly from flight to flight and will change for the same flight depending on when you book it.
You might also find it useful to know that sometimes a checked 10k bag is cheaper to take than the same bag carried on by yourself, but by no means always.
Number 5. If there's more than one person in your party, it's worth considering splitting your party into 2 or more separate bookings. Why? Well, not only will that allow you to mix package options and not be forced into a one-size-fits-all, but it might also allow you to take advantage when there's only, say, 1 seat left at a lower price. If you try and cost a booking for 2 people, then the system will simply charge all passengers at the higher fare rather than one at the lower fare and one at the higher.
Number 6. If you are booking a return flight, then it almost always be cheaper to book it as 2 separate flights rather than a return. Not only is the base fare likely to be cheaper, but any add-ons such as baggage may well be cheaper too. Bear in mind that the return flight will be charged in local currency, which might be different to your outbound currency, and so consider credit card charges when using this method.
Number 7. Let's start by saying that Ryanair allocates at check-in every passenger aged 2 or over a seat, unlike in the past where you had to select your own seat upon boarding.
Ryanair now allocates every passenger aged 2 or over a seat at check-in. However, anecdotally, Ryanair appears to deliberately split members of a party up at check-in if they have not made seat reservations.
If you're all adults, it might not bother you too much, and you might be happy to save the £8 or €10 per person each way it often costs you to select even the most basic seat. This is particularly important to know if you're flying as a family with children, and we cover this in point 10.
We'd also encourage you not to be pressured into buying a seat reservation just because it means you can check in 60 days ahead of travel.
Checking in 24 hours ahead is still quite normal with most airlines.
Number 8. Ryanair tries to demonise the middle seat as a marketing exercise to get you to pay for seat reservations. Only pay to avoid the middle seat if it really does bother you, not because Ryanair says it should.
Number 9. Don't get suckered into believing that priority boarding is worth paying extra for. It's a throwback to the days when seating was a free-for-all. It comes automatically if you've paid for the larger carry-on, either as a package or separately.
If all you have is the basic bag allowance, then you'll almost certainly have to put this under the seat in front of you, and you'll have been allocated a seat at check-in. So the worst that happens to passengers who don't have priority boarding is that they board a bit later and spend 10 minutes less sitting in an uncomfortable Ryanair seat.
Number 10 is for families. If travelling with children, then getting the best value and navigating Ryanair's policies is complex and takes some patience.
If you have children between ages 2 and 11, then they must be seated with an adult aged 18 or over on the same booking. There are no exceptions to this, and if there are not enough free seats together, then you simply won't be able to book the flight.
For the most basic seats, roughly rows 18 to 29, the adult must pay the basic seat reservation charge in the region of £8 or €10 each way, and children under 12 will be seated next to them for free.
Whilst you might question why the adult has to pay at all, this sounds okayish, but in practice, we regularly found flights where it was impossible to seat an adult and one or more children together in these £8 seats.
If this is the case, then the adult has to pay the difference between the £8 and whatever seats are available, and, wait for it, you have to pay the full seat price for any children under 12.
Once you've got your head around this, if you are travelling with children aged 12 or over, then they are treated as adults for seat allocation purposes. If aged between 12 and 15, then they must be on the same booking as an adult aged 18 or over.
Now, the impact of this is the same as point 7. If you don't pay for a seat reservation, then when you check in 24 hours before your flight, the automated system is very likely to split you up from your children. So, unless they are confident, and you, including in the very unlikely event of an emergency, to be apart from you potentially at opposite ends of the aircraft, then you need to pay for seat reservations.
For families, Ryanair offers an additional package option called Family Plus. We'd give the same warning here as with the other packages. Do you really need everything it includes? Particularly when everyone in the booking, including kids aged 2 or over, have to buy it.
Our advice would be to select the basic package and then add the seats you need plus the bags you need, bearing in mind that not all people aged 12 or over have to reserve a seat, and that you can be selective about who buy additional bags later in the booking process.
Now, one good piece of news of which families might be able to take advantage: children between 2 and 11 can take a trunky case on each for free in place of their small bag.
These are similar sizes to the larger carry-on, and so might be a way of taking more baggage for free.
Our final piece of advice for travelling with Ryanair: the airline has a reputation for ruthlessly applying its rules, and reports online suggest that airport staff are incentivised to charge passengers who try to flout them.
So our suggestion is simple. Obey the rules in respect of checking in on time, turning up to the gate on time, and bringing the baggage size and weight which you've paid for, and your chances of having a smooth and stress-free journey are increased.
Thanks for watching. We hope you found this useful, and please like and subscribe to the channel.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.